Hi guys, Tempest here. This time we'll be watching a Wolfbark Open 22 semi-final match between Molson Canadian and me. The tournament took place in July 2025 and had 23 registered players with a top 8 top cut. Once again, we had to face some very strong opponents this tournament, such as Lee Murphy, Extra Power, Darwin Select, Bendubus, Icaros, and Justice Punch, to name a few. In top 8, we beat Lee Murphy on Spellbook, and now we're facing Harpies. Let's get to the game. Harpies should be a somewhat good matchup for Geargia, even without access to Ragna Zero. We'll see how it goes. We won rock, paper, scissors, and we'll start. Actually, this is a quite good hand for us without immediate access to armor for good back row. We'll support our Geargia plays. We'll set our MK2 because it's a count for needle sealing. And even if he does something to our Geargia gear summoned monsters, we'll still revive one of them. Surely Molson won't attack our first turn set. Molson also drew very good with access to field spell and the rank 4 plays. He goes for the field spell. He'll activate it. But he interestingly decides to go for Cyber Harpie Lady play, which I agree actually with this point. Because Harpie's hunting grounds, it's a MST. Mostly because we don't want him to just attack with this 2k body into something that actually isn't armor. But now he'll go for Elegant Egotist play. And with 2100 attack monster, he won't go into XYZ, which is the correct play, because that against 3 back row is most likely a -1. So yeah, we could use Fiendish Chain on Harpie Lady 1 at the start of the battle phase. But that would just mean he would for sure make Lightning Chidori in main phase 2, which would again clear both Fiendish Chain and set monster. So yeah, actually an opening of Cyber Harpie Lady, Hysteric Sign, and Field Spell was really the perfect counter to our opening. We'll now take 1600 as well. And yeah, he decides to keep both monsters because he has Solemn Warning in the back in case we have something like Geargia Gear, which we do. So before we go to our turn, we use this Geargia Gear. Crow on top deck isn't good now. We'll attempt to make 2 Gigants here. Firstly, we summon Accelerator. Here we use 2 Gianos because they're of lesser value. And also if you kept Giano, summoning Accelerator in attack doesn't mean anything to us because it still cannot run over anything here. No warning will hit us pretty hard. And yeah, now we're hoping to catch Molson into this needle sealing trap. Hysteric Party is a very good top deck for Molson as well. He knows we play needle sealing, so he will proceed with dealing 2100 damage for 3 turns. He also has Fiendish Chain for our Zen mains attempt. And yeah, with Hysteric Party in his grip, he now decides to make Lightning Chidori. Although it can't really detach any materials, but still it should bait something. If we finish, he will be able to detach. So that's exactly what we do. But Molson decides not to detach meaninglessly. He can do that on the following turn as well. Warning is good, but we are pretty low on life points already. And now MK2 will eat this Findish, will set warning, which he cannot use yet. Duality for Molson. He gets torrential. I would get duality here rather, most likely. Although he does actually want to take down this lightning Chidori with torrential as well. So at least these materials will end where he needs them. So yeah, torrential was also a good consideration. Another MK2 is very good. We'll summon him. And now we have to revive Accelerator, not something else. That's because we know this torrential tribute is here. Otherwise we would summon Giano and summon Accelerator in attack position, probably. And we'll make Zenmains here. We know he plays magical hats, so attacking and freeing this Chidori from Findish Chain is risky. But we do have to start clearing his cards. Firstly, probably this torrential tribute. So we crash, and in that phase we destroy, yes, torrential. He top decks Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which isn't good right now, but will surely come in handy in the later turns. He will put Chidori to defense and pass. Max C for us. Yeah, it's not good at this time exactly, but we'll for sure use him later. We put Zenmains to defense as well, and we pass with nothing to do. Compulse for Molson is great because it also works with Chidori. And now we finally get to armor, which also works great with needle sealing. We set him, and next turn we'll be making some plays. Molson top decks the last egotist target, but it also makes his channeler live. He doesn't shuffle his hand and summons a channeler from the old card. You should always shuffle your hand after each draw, basically, because now we know he top decked a Harpie card. So we can still wait for channeler to discard and only then use needle sealing. Also we'll make this 1-for-1 exchange with Maxi. We could be greedy and wait for his XYZ summon for another draw off of Maxi, but then Lightning Chidori would take care of this armor, probably. If he would go for needle sealing on summon of Chidori, then Accelerator would miss timing because Chidori would be channeling 1, sealing channeling 2. So yeah, it's probably not worth risking it and just use it on the summon. Molson will save his Harpie Queen now for party play, I suppose. This means Zenmains will clear back row if he is to survive. We activate Accelerator, add MK2. So this was a +3 off of this interaction. That's why I really like needle sealing in Geargia, especially if you play Zenmains, which we should. And yeah, now Molson will try to close this game by summoning 5 Harpies, which sounds attractive for Max C we activated, but it's probably just best to use Solemn Warning and not be once again greedy. We now have 6, we might say even 7 cards with armor against Molson's 1, 0 actually. We'll now flip armor and yeah, Molson will scoop. Game 2. Okay, this is a rather poor opening for Molson. He sets a card, which can only mean he has magical hats in back row, or it's Zephyros. We opened actually quite good against, but against 4 back row it will be hard. So we here decide against attacking. And possibly Molson using magical hats. Then in main phase 2, after the spell and trap cards go to the graveyard, we could use mind control on his, of course, level 4 to make Abyss Dweller, but that will still leave him with 3 back row, or maybe 2 if we MST, which is a lot to hope for Dweller to go through. So it might be best to just sit on armor and warning along with MST. Yeah, I agree with this line of play. I don't know if he sided. No, he didn't actually side magical heads out, if I remember correctly. So this is the better line of play. Yeah, Molson top decks Queen, a very, very good top deck. And now he'll try to pop to back row. This means Queen or Field Spell will eat an MST. And now he can MST the last back row. Interestingly, after Flip Summon. And he makes Giant Hand a prize card, interestingly. Yes, okay. Giant Hand isn't really good against Geargia because we can easily make Gigant. We can also just float with armor into Arsenal, into armor, into Accelerator or something. Because Giant Hand can actually only negate Giano out of all main deck monsters. But he does have 3 back row, so it might be enough. Hand will destroy armor, who gets the Accelerator. We want to get Giano in graveyard before we do any Gigant plays. That's why we will summon this Arsenal. But yeah, now we top deck Trap Stun, which means we will probably delay our XYZ attempt for 1 turn. Yeah, I agree with that. We will probably just make Exiton actually. So yeah, we'll go into armor once again for 1 more turn. Also, Molson actually didn't have any better XYZ plays because what are you gonna do? Summon Arc or something? Actually, Giant Hand is the best option because these are not 2 wins. We also set Mind Control. This means our Exiton will destroy it. So, but we really want to keep this Trapstone against his possible MST. So another Fiendish for Molson is a good top deck. He will destroy this second armor. We will add now second Accelerator. Okay, and now we should probably bait. We'll see what if Giant Hand negates this MK2. It does. So now we summon 2 Accelerators first. We could make Gigant attack, even if it dies, will float into. Actually, sorry, we won't float into anything. So using Trapstone here is important before we commit into anything. And now we should actually just make Exiton rather. We do. Molson doesn't use his horn, which is a misplay. Because if he did, at least then we'd have to crash MK2 into Giant Hand first. That means we'd take 1000 points of damage, and then in main phase 2 we could use Exiton. Not that it matters that much, but still, 1000 points is 1000 points. So yeah, Exiton clears the whole board, and we have follow-up with this MK2. Which means Alucard, Solo Silver Mountain, even Acid Golem if need be. Hysteric Party, as this is a very good top deck, because this means when he sets it, we will have to make Alucard rather than something else. Yeah, this arsenal isn't great for us because we already have access to him. So here we have to play more aggressively, and we go for Giano as well into Alucard, which clears this back row, does 3700 points of damage. Fiendish Chain, with this, that's an even better top deck, because it takes care of one of our monsters, and it also allows him to resummon Zephyros. Actually, it was the third Fiendish Chain. Wow, incredible. We top deck Needle Ceiling, which would mean we will now for sure use Alucard, because we don't want him to use his third Hysteric Party. And also, even if it's something like Fiendish Chain, if he top decks a monster, we'll Needle Ceiling everything after Zephyros comes down. Then he would have a Fiendish Chain in grip, we would summon Arsenal and attack. But Fiendish wouldn't work on Arsenal because it would just tribute itself in main phase 2. So yeah, here we have to use Alucard and summon this Arsenal as well, and then only Dark Hole can turn his game around, and he has 29 cards in his deck. He activates this Fiendish, of course. Now we attack for 3500. But what is the best option to get with Arsenal here? Only one Accelerator is left and Armor. So Armor works great with Needle Ceiling. But any level with Needle Ceiling, it's better to just go into Accelerator. And then after Accelerator will die to this Needle Ceiling, if he top decks a monster and goes for the Zephyros play, as we said, we would go into Arsenal actually, who will bait this Fiendish Chain and tribute itself in main phase 2. So we'd be left with Arsenal plus another card next turn against his 0 cards. But we get to Armor, which I'd say isn't really a misplay, because yeah, only Dark Hole turns this game around, and also we have 2 monsters plus Maxis, 3 Maxis. So we can just attack and win. Molson does actually top deck Dark Hole. Wow, and this goes +2. And now we're left to top deck something. I mean, he has a lot of Harpies in deck still, but they're all just body, although this needle ceiling is being set here meaninglessly. Mind Crush on top deck, that's devastating at that card. We won't even set it. MST for Molson, he sets it. We draw Book of Moon, which also can come handy right now in this game state. Elegant Egotist, where were these cards before? He does have so many unusable cards, but yeah, Dark Hole came right in clutch. But you also do, of course. Fiendish Chain also isn't doing anything at this phase, because it only can stop attack and then he'll just make an XYZ. Dead Solemn Warning from Molson. Overworked is probably the best draw until now for us, but of course it came as the last draw, so we won't even set it most likely because we don't want to clog our back row. That's really unfortunate sequencing here. And now Molson gets a Harpie, which he summons. He will use Elegant Egotist. Something one overworked could take care of. Now we will take all this damage, 3700, due to not setting overworked, a play with which I still agree that we shouldn't set it. With top deck Crow, not even Maxi, who could at least threaten lethal in next turn. We will of course set overworked. He doesn't MST it in battle phase. We use overworked. Also doesn't want to fall into our torrential traps, so he just attacks with those two. He doesn't set Channeler. It really seems like he knows exactly what he will draw and what we will draw, because he also didn't even use Zephyros before he used Dark Hole to bounce Fiendish Chain to at least survive in case we top decked Geargia monster. I don't know if that was the correct play for him. It probably would have been best to just bounce Fiendish Chain and let Zephyros die. He sets Monster as protection. Another Mind Crush when he has 0 cards in hand. Nice. Mind Control for Molson. He can now attack with Channelier. We decide not to Fiendish Chain because we can still take 2 more attacks after that. And we draw Maxi, which will probably set as bluff. I mean, we could set this Mind Crush, who will eat MST, that's good for us, I guess. Forbidden Lance for Molson is also a very good draw at this stage. Okay, here he probably didn't check our graveyard, because he would see then that this set can only be either hand trap, an accelerator, which we for sure would have summoned in attack and destroy along with this Chandelier, or MK2, which of course we wouldn't set after he has no Fiendish Chains anymore. So using this mind control was unnecessary, I think. He should have for sure just attacked, because that's a +1. He flip summons Maxi, and he bounces it for Zephyros, because Zephyros doesn't have to bounce to your hand, just to the hand. And we crow him. He doesn't even take 400 damage. He attacks directly once again. This time we will use Fiendish Chain. Why? Because he now knows we only have Max C in hand, so setting us bluff, even though he didn't check our graveyard, won't do anything. Trap Stun. Another useless card at this point when we are +3 and we just want to deal 800 points of damage. Actually, any Geargia here would win us the game. Either Accelerator who would crash in this Chandelier, or MK2 who would make either Acid Golem or Silver Mounter or something. So we just set Trap Stun. Molson top decks Torrential. He cannot attack and he passes. We draw Bottomless and we cannot set it. Now he will probably just draw a Harpie after. We cannot set this Bottomless as usual. Not really. So he now could use Lance on Chandelier, discard the ground and summon something. But he just decides to use it to boost his Chandelier. Channeler, sorry. Because yeah, if he lances this, he's playing against 4 back row. It's not worth it probably. MST for us, which again we cannot use. But yeah, with Trap Stun, MK2 play would still win most likely. Molson top decks Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. This is getting out of hand for us now. Lance for us, still no Geargia. We'll have to pass. Hysteric Sign. He will probably discard it in the end phase, in our end phase. Probably a correct call. Yes. And now we finally get to Geargia Gears. We were waiting just for those. Dead Geargia Gears. We'll pass again. End phase, he uses Hysteric Sign on Fiendish Chain. This should be trap stunned. Why? Because simply because we don't want to top deck this Fiendish Chain that isn't all that good. We really need a Geargia here. But we'll allow it. So we'll at least use this Mind Crash for something. Hysteric Sign resolves because we don't have Crow, of course. He adds 3. After the resolution, we MST Field Spell. Okay. Maybe we should just Mind Crush Channeler. So he'd have to summon Queen, but I don't know. Yeah, and we pass. He top decks another Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Yeah, these are some really good top decks for Molson again. But he does have a lot of Harpies, not a lot, but some Harpies to top deck. We use Mind Crush on Hunting Ground, interestingly. He decides to summon Channeler rather than just win with Queen. He doesn't use its effect. And we let him. If he makes Cowboy, we'll just Book of Moon him. He sets blah, and we top deck said Fiendish Chain. That's exactly why we should have used Trap Stun, although it would clog our back row here. This Maxi also isn't doing anything. I don't know if he didn't use even Channeler, which is interesting. We set Maxi. and 2 more back row. He uses Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. That's why he kept it, of course. We now trap stun. We will now have to protect this Maxi with Book and Fiendish. Now even Crow can put us back into the game with Needle Sealing. But of course nothing once again. So, wow, 10 consecutive top decks that did next to nothing. Bottomless for Molson. He will now attack and use Lance on the other channeler to win game 2. Very unfortunate, or rather fortunate game. Even with some misplays, Molson came up on top through pure willpower. Very well played on both parts, nonetheless. Let's go to game 3. Yeah, that is a rather poor opening for us, but it still might work. We'll see. We'll set armor and both back row. So Molson here needs an extender with this hand, otherwise he isn't doing much. And he gets one. He uses MST blindly, correctly. He hits trap stun, summons Harpie Queen, and uses mind control. Nothing we can do. After the flip summon, we use Maxi. Yeah, once again, he didn't even use Hysteric Sign to maybe get Egotist to see if we have anything here. That way, when he would have used Egotist, sorry, he didn't even use Hysteric Sign. That way, when he used Egotist, we would at least get another draw off of Maxi. So yeah, nothing is going our favor. He attacks, and he'll probably make a giant hand once again. Also, he wants to keep this Hysteric Sign for a Hysteric Party, which he sets. Here we could make Gigant, but against all black horns we saw now it's a bit risky. We decide to set armor to get to Arsenal and Giano, which is correct line. At least we'll be floating into something, if it's not black horn or warning exactly. Molson top decks Cyber Harpie Lady and summons it. He'll now do 1800 while we add Arsenal to our hand. We could actually go for Giano straight up. With Arsenal, we can now also summon Accelerator and attack over this Cyber Harpie Lady with 1900. Then in main phase 2 we make Gigant and pass. But that is quite risky against Forbidden Lance. And with what else we have, it's not worth the risk. We top deck another Accelerator, use MST. So we could make Gigant. Yeah, probably that's the correct play. We go into Giano. We'll make Black Corn, Black Ship of Corn in Memphis 2, probably. So yeah, we cleared this giant hand. We could only clear this Harpy Lady actually, but this place is also quite fine. Actually, the only combination of cards that can out this board we have is Hysteric Party and Sign exactly. We have to get rid of this Harpy Lady as well, because then any top deck Harpie will take care of both. And yeah, in end phase he uses party along with sign. If he had a Harpie lady and if he top decked a Harpie lady, he would summon it, use hysteric sign, then we would just mind crush his elegant egotist, so he would be left with nothing. So yeah, the combination of two will now do a lot. This crow cannot handle everything. He summons both. Will use crow after the resolution as spell speed 2. And yeah, he will now make arc, and we have to top deck, but with another awesome top deck, another hysteric party. This means Molson won the game. And we top deck overworked. Molson attacks and decides to attack even if we have to use party, even if we have something like torrential, which we actually do not play. Yeah, summons both harpies for the win. So poorer starts for Molson all 3 games, but with exceptional draws throughout the games he took home the win. We cannot deny he played very good, as he does. We could say the turning points were tiny misplays on our behalf, but I don't know, that really was a very statistically improbable chance for us to lose. We saw Mind Crushes doing absolutely nothing due to Molson's poor openings, which meant they were almost always -1 for us. Same goes for Crow and Maxi, which should have been great against Harpies. But still, we managed to top 8 Wolfbark Opens in a row with this tournament, and at least we'll take a break from FireWater format with a somewhat decent result. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy. Bye.